Welcome to the Vet S.O.S Veteran Entrepreneurial Spotlight. Remember, don't drown to see a transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline. The Veteran Entrepreneurial Spotlight is sponsored by SpearPoint Solutions. SpearPoint Solutions is a one-stop shop for leading-edge products, services, and training from multiple vendors. From AI training to corporate gifts and much more, they have everything you need to help your organization thrive in the modern economy. Make sure you check out all the valuable offerings at spearpointonline.com, and remember to use the code VETSOS on anything you purchase there to continue to help our mission and what we're trying to do here to help veterans. All right, so we're going to jump right into it today. We got John Kerkhoff with us, founder of Frago 22, a military veteran with over 20 years of service, excelling as a leader, strategist, and innovator. From leading diverse teams on the battlefield to designing cutting-edge training programs for the Army, John's career has been defined by rapid innovation and overcoming challenges. Now, as the founder of Frago 22, his mission is to guide and mentor transitioning service members and veterans, helping them navigate their next career path with precision and purpose. A certified Scrum Master and quality assurance expert, John's passion lies in driving organizational success while empowering the next generation of leaders. Fantastic, John. How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Man, I cannot complain. It is beautiful outside. That actually probably be my only complaint is I'm not outside enjoying it, but
right.
I have just as much fun here sitting here talking with veterans and veteran spouses about entrepreneurship. So it's all good, brother. So let's jump right into your transition. How did that go?
Oh man, so my transition, for all intents and purposes, was a little bit better than a lot of others. I was part of the Hiring Our Heroes program. I started work with a communications company right out of the gate. My last 6 months in service, I was interning with them through Hiring Our Heroes, and then of course they gave me a job offer letter. And my transition period leave, my terminal leave, I was already working for them, so it was good in that regard. But at the same time, I didn't really prep myself properly. The TAP courses, they're good for something, but it's fire hose and trying to make sense of what I actually needed to do, what I didn't need to do, what was important now versus later. I kind of fell behind on that. And then it created some other issues later on down the line, jumping from Georgia back to Virginia and trying to get all that established while working this new job and while finishing out. Then I had to go back to Georgia to get my 214 and then go back to work. So definitely not the most ideal way to transition out of the service.
I got that. I did the same program, Hire Our Heroes, and from one location to the other, but it all worked out. It definitely using those fellowship programs definitely helps you with the whole transition process and finding the next career. Sorry, you did all that. You had a relatively good transition compared to some of the ones I've heard. So what led you to want to become an entrepreneur?
So once I started working and getting involved in just the civilian workforce, the culture, trying to work with veterans who had transitioned before that, I started getting calls from a lot of my old soldiers. And you're just like, hey, for Sergeant, can you help me out with this? Hey, I know you just transitioned. What should I be doing? How should I be doing it? And so I really wanted to start tackling that because I didn't want them to have to go through the pain I had to. Right. And so it was just very, yeah, let me help you out. Here's what I did, but this may not be pertinent for you. And so let's figure out one, where you want to end up. Most people say, hey, what do you want to do first? And I said, no. That's kind of a mistake I made. But where do you want to end up? Like, what's ideal home? What's comfortable where, and of course, some people are okay with, I don't care. I just want a job. And some people are like, no, look, I really need to try to be in a location. And so we kind of backwards plan from there, just breaking it down for them, figuring that out. And as I was doing that, and as I was, referring them to great organizations like Hiring Our Heroes and the recruiting agencies and the web builders and stuff, I said, hey, listen, I need to do this on a better level and help them out. And then in the company I was working with, they were trying to launch their veteran initiative programs as well. So it's kind of helping them. And I was making those lessons learned. And I said, you know what? I'd rather just do this full time than trying to balance a job and trying to do this, So if I could help veterans and I can help businesses and have them get that alignment, so that way these businesses, it's not fair to them when they bring on veterans who end up leaving in a year. And American Corporate Partners has kind of did a survey and figured out that 85% of service members are going to leave that first job in the first year, right? And not because these are bad companies or anything, it's just there's a misalignment. whether misalignment at location, misalignment at job, what they thought the job was, or just a complete incompatible job market, right? Hiring our heroes is great to fixing that issue because through that internship program, you would find out if you weren't the fit for each other. But most others, they're not getting that. So I said, hey, we could fix this at both ends at the same time and marry them together and do it right.
Yeah, fantastic. It's scary when you think about the numbers, right? And how many people do, leave after the first year, how many jobs veterans have in the first 5 years. And, I think you really hit the nail on the head there with, finding that right fit and how that all plays in. Um,
Mhm.
okay. So what's been the best and what's been the worst part about being an entrepreneur?
So the best part about being an entrepreneur is just really getting to know I'm making a difference, right? Anything I do, I'm doing it with a purpose. And it's not, this purpose of, oh, I'm going to excel the company or I'm going to do this. No, I'm actually doing something that one is impactful to me, is meaningful to me. Not that other work wasn't, but this is a direct impact. But I'm also seeing the fruits of my labor in real time because I'm working with these companies, I'm working with the transitioning service members, and I'm getting to see that alignment happen. Even if I said, hey, Shawn, I got this opportunity for you. And hey, Vet S.O.S, I got an opportunity for you here. Here's Shawn and da 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 da. It may or may not work out, but that's fine. But it's better that we figure that out now before Shawn gets hired on and then Shawn is miserable or the company's not getting what they're hoping to get, right? So in your case, right, it worked out great. And here you are. And so it's creating that opportunity. And I mean and it's amazing, right? It's just I enjoy what I do every day, even on the stressful days, even on the days where I'm like, come on, can I catch a break? I'm still like, this is good. This is meaningful. And so I love it. Now, the worst part about it is when no one knows who you are, right? It's how do you get out there and then separating yourself from every other weed in the garden, right? So it's just really like, okay, hey, no, listen, I got a different approach to this. Here's how we're going to do it. And we start showing that value, you start building things, gain the trust of the veterans, you gain the trust of the organizations. And as that flowers, right? Now you transition back into the good side of the house where you're just like, hey, everyone's getting happy and winning and things are great.
That's good. So it definitely, bringing um, that sense of purpose back in there is a huge part of the entrepreneurial side of it. And I loved how, your worst part, that is a challenge, right? We have to figure out a way to make ourselves known. We got to get out there. And even like with the podcast, it's been slow, but it's been steady growth and word of mouth and starting to reach more and more people. And, so it is a process. And, so some people aren't necessarily born on third base and hit a triple or think they hit a triple, I think was how it was worded. Some people get lucky that way, I guess. I don't know how they do it. It wasn't me. But it's definitely a process and you got to stick with it. So love you sharing that piece.
No,
So
definitely. And I think it's important to get that out there, right? Especially anyone who's active on, LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Um, you do see a lot of these entrepreneurial coaches out there trying to quote unquote help people. And not that they're doing anything bad, but when they're only selling you the glamorous side of it, it's easy to get trapped, right? But there's just like anything else, there's a crappy side to it, especially if you have not done it ever, right? Um, you take my story, for example, right? I left the army after 20 years. So pretty much the biggest portion of my adult life, because I joined out of high school, was in the military. And there I was a scout. My first job out of the military is working with a communications company building data centers. Those of you who know, scouts and data centers don't align. And then I jumped to entrepreneurship. So again, it's a whole nother learning curve, but it's not impossible. You could do it. There's a lot of great resources out there to help you through it. I mean, even the SBA, Small Business Administration, they have a lot of free services, especially for veterans, because they want veterans to do that. And well, that's where us veterans thrive in the unknown. We're able to take some information, drink it from a hot fire hose, and just kind of go figure it out. And that would be what I tell people. Hey, if that's your forte, go out there. Don't be afraid to learn something new and try something different.
you must have my notes because that's a perfect lead into the next question. What entrepreneurial programs have you used, whether veteran specific or not veteran specific?
So I definitely did a lot of the SBA because, like I said, they have a whole lot of free resources out there. I got on sam.gov, so I learned how to navigate the contracting side of it, the government side of it, but also that's what helped me get my service disabled veteran owned business identifier, which, for those going down that path, that's definitely a huge intake. And then of course, talking to great people on LinkedIn, networking, got a lot of great tips and value from that. And then just kind of reaching out, honestly, that's been the big thing. I got involved with my chamber of commerce, and actually I got a lot of those people out there, different business owners of different walks of life doing different things, kind of sharing their knowledge and feedback. So a lot of great opportunities there. And score's another good one. Veterati was another good one. So definitely, I didn't stick to one. I had a pool, and it keeps going to this day. So don't think it's ever stopped, because I'm still reaching out, still networking, still learning. Um, if you don't mind, a big shout out to Kerkhoff from Overwatch. He runs DCAC. I know I big promoted that a while ago before the convention, but he's been a mentor of mine as well. So definitely good people out there.
Outstanding. And networking is a huge piece of it, especially for entrepreneurship. All right.
Mhm.
So tell us about Frago 22. What do you got going on here?
So the big thing with Frago, right? You kind of introduced it. We're coming into companies, and we're not just giving you a system that's going to help you retain your veterans. Now, that doesn't help anyone, especially if you don't understand the system. What we're coming in to do, we're coming in to actually show you how to onboard, train, and develop your people first, veterans or not. Then we worry about bringing the veterans in, because now it's a whole system. Now it's a culture. And we want to build you up from just being an organization to being veteran friendly, and then take you up to veteran ready, because those are actual distinct steps that have different components to them. And when companies become veteran ready, especially, it's a big deal. There's a lot of tax write-off that comes with veterans. There's a lot of programs you could get grant money for, aid for, or even tax write-offs for. So there's a lot to it, and we want to build you up there and build you right. If we just handed it to you, it would fall apart. So we want to make sure you're ready for it, and the veterans are ready for your organization. It's a marriage, right? Neither one or the other is perfect without each other in sync. That's what we do.
So what can either party expect? So like if I'm the company and you come in, what can I expect you to be laying out there?
So a lot of what I'm going to do is just kind of, we're going to talk about how you bring people on. We're going to talk about how you train people. And one of the big things, at least from my experience dealing with corporate, the civilian world, is I'm going to teach you how to grow your leaders from within. So a lot of times you see these companies, when they need leadership or special skills, they outsource. And not to say that's wrong, but if that's all you ever do, your people inside who know your systems and processes don't get that chance. But when they see it, right, they're more apt to be like, okay, I see how to grow in this company. I see how it's valued. I see where I'm going. And so we teach into that. Now with the veterans, we're that transition mentorship program, we're giving them that coaching, but we're also going to teach them the new lingo of civilian culture, right? And if I'm working a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of, hey, Shawn's working, over here, I'm gonna make sure you're getting it exactly for them. So that way you're walking in already speaking that lingo, already understanding what's going on for that company. Just like basic training, right? You think about, you had to learn what the military was, whatever branch of service. You had to learn the ranks, you had to learn the structure, you had to learn the processes. So it's kind of that concept, but without the yelling and screaming. And so we just marry it up and send them up.
But that's the fun part, all the yelling and screaming.
Right? Do push-ups.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's fantastic. So what's the best place the audience to connect with you and to check out Frago 22?
So definitely my website, frago22.com, one of the best places. If you want to start talking and networking, definitely hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm all over LinkedIn. I'm on the chats. I'm posting stuff. I try to keep it lively and fun, but at the same time, hey, let's open up conversations. Let's get into the real talk. Those are the two best places. And my YouTube channel, it's my own personal channel. So John Kerkhoff, and I'm going to post a lot of kind of more talk things like, hey, we're just going to kind of talk about what's poking people out there and kind of what we're seeing, and just really kind of fostering those same ideas and fostering those conversations so people can realize, hey, here's what's out there, and or bring up their own concerns like, hey, I'm seeing this, what about this, and just really get it out there, have fun with it, but learn. Let's all learn from each other.
Outstanding. Love it, man. Well, John, thank you for joining us today on the Vet S.O.S podcast. And on behalf of the entire Vet S.O.S family, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. You can find Vet S.O.S podcast on your favorite podcast platforms as well as YouTube. And please make sure you follow and subscribe to us so we can continue to do what we're doing and you don't miss a thing. And remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline.